you can still play Dual Universe in 2026? Hey, this game is dead, right? It was dead when it launched. That was the general consensus from most of the coverage it got, and the official MMO did shut down in August of 2025. But now the game lives on through private servers branded as myDU, a one-time purchase model that allows you to play on community servers or even make your own. For some of us, we enjoyed the building so much and then the community so much that we kept playing. So here's some player counts. The Settlers has about 100 continuous players. Yeah, so what does 100 players feel like? Well, sometimes it's lonely. But sometimes you run into a friend flying by their base, see somebody at the market, or you all hang out together at a social gathering. And so it's not a complete ghost town if you're active in the community, but for someone who's used to seeing 500 tunes standing in Orgrimmar, it won't be that. And not many games are in the sandbox space, so set your expectations. The third verse has about 30 players on continually as well, another great server option. Feel free to create your own and give it a go. All of these servers are going to have quality of life improvements like reduced taxes, faster talents. So we'll call that out now. 2 of them have no schematic requirements, and that's, I know, is a big deal for a lot of people. Patch 0.23 in beta, schematics were implemented. There was a big player exodus. It's no longer an issue on the Settlers and North Industries. But if you want schematics, the third verse has them. So many will be concerned about so few players and there just not being things available on the market. Just a quick snapshot of how much money is out there, which is called Quanta in Dual Universe. Just in case, across all players there's 61.4 billion Quanta, and there's about 1,300 to 1,400 unique accounts. If I count right on this graph on the bottom left, there looks to be 10 to 12 billionaires. I don't think that helps us decide if the market's working well, but just a quick look at what people have in their wallets. So let's look at the actual market in game and see if it's working. So the markets are not connected, and so you actually have to travel there to get the thing. And we'll go to the main market. If I go to market 0, I see that we do have some orders for coal. We have buy orders at 1, and we have sell orders at 199. Just to look at another commodity ore, buy at 1, sell at 2. To check the tier 2 ore, buys are at 2, sells are at 8. So this is a tier 5 ore. A buy order at 80 is selling at 265. So for raw material, that's what the market looks like. Let's try some basic components like a basic atmospheric engine. These are selling at 119,000. How about a wing M, which is a workhorse for most spaceships in Dual Universe? Those are selling at market 0 for 10,000. Let's look at a luxury item, an exotic atmospheric engine overclock, selling at 1.4 million essentially. And you can see the quantity. I myself have tried to play the market. I tried to sell doors at $19,999, and at the time that I put these up, this was a pretty competitive price, as you could see. They were upwards of 20. I started to get undercut, which it seems like 89 is the new price. So the market is competitive as people scale up their industries. A lot of players really enjoy that side of the game. So it looks like on the Settlers, there's enough going on here to sustain an economy, and there is competition at the market. So there is kind of one main market, and it is Alioth Market 0. And yes, people are clustered around Market 0. You could think of it as kind of the center of the Dual Universe. So it has an economy. Great. Will it be around in a year? Will we see myDU in 2027? Well, the Settler server has a roadmap for 2026. They upgraded their equipment in 2025. The performance is no better than it was back in the MMO, which arguably was not even as good as it was in beta. The community is working with what they have to work with, so for some I think the performance will be acceptable, and if it was not acceptable for you in the MMO, it won't be acceptable for you in this version either. The most noticeable issues are load times for constructs, desync when flying around other ships, and the terrain is sometimes still slow to load. So all of those issues are still there. But give credit to the admins for giving us an experience that holds close to the MMO, which is all we can ask for with what they've been given to work with. Okay, so we've talked about some concerns that you might have. Now I think it's time to talk about some things that are happening in myDU that might surprise you in a good way. So here's the timeline for Dual Universe in Twitch viewers since it was available to stream. It peaked in December 2020 and it kind of fell into obscurity until launch, which happened in late 2022, where there was a slight spike in interest, but then quickly fell back into obscurity, and it kind of remained that way through 2025 until lately, where there has been increased viewership. The last available month with data had watched hours at 30,000, and that number hasn't been achieved since December of 2022, and that was just 3 months after launch. The big driver is Twitch drops. That's right, Dual Universe has Twitch drops, specifically on the Settlers server. You can link your account and you can get 50,000 Quanta every hour you're watching your favorite streamer. You can get a unique title and even unique element skins. Another great thing about these private servers is they have great discords, and the Settlers even has a kill feed. And yes, there's PvP out there. I've been shot down. So if you really are looking for a scrap, you'll find one, but it's kind of like fishing. You know, it was never abundant on the MMO and it's not in myDU either. But be careful, space truckers. Those pipes are dangerous. Captain Harlock has made a ship inspired by the Star Citizen RSI Arastra. It has functioning industry on ships, which is a thing on the Settlers. And I've got a video on the way featuring that ship and taking an in-depth look and a conversation with Captain Harlock, so look out for that later. You've got a lot of great new ships from Loaded. You've got the Star Wars inspired ships he's been making, some of his classics. There's mineable asteroid belts. I've seen them. I run missions through there. The missions now pick up and drop off at player bases, so you get to see more things, visit new places. There's custom voxels, there's camouflage, there's luminescent blue and green that we didn't have on the MMO. There's even Hello Kitty. There's actually NPCs, and you can talk to them, get missions, you can earn reputation. There's actually new elements like the Vulcan engine. There's a smaller warp drive variant that's actually very light and very efficient to use. The PvE missions are in the open world. myDU servers also have a mesh importer, letting you bring 3D models from programs like Blender directly into the game. The racing is probably the best I've seen it. All of the old guard back in the early beta and MMO days are back now, racing. We've got leaderboards, there's rally tracks, there's voxel tracks or circuit style tracks. There's the Hot Wheels track by J-Rod that defies gravity. So if you're into racing and you don't mind doing it in a space MMO, a lot of folks streaming the game are racing. We get pretty competitive. I'm okay, but it's a lot of fun to do. There's the Dome. We love doing the Dome on Friday night around 8 p.m. Eastern time. About 20 of us or so get together and we all get on this ball, and Angry Dad tries to kill us until there's one person left, and that person usually gets tons of Quanta and other prizes. It's a great way to meet people. We socialize. Angry Dad's streaming it every Friday night, 8 p.m. until. Links are in the description. There's fly-ins happening, big fly-ins where people bring their newest ships to show off. There are huge community events. The latest one was the Christmas event put on by Micro Booster and Dark Angel, and Yes Man Mad Hatter also helped, where for the entire month of December you could go over and get a new blueprint. Great event. A lot of games get tourists and a resident population that stays, and this game is really good at retaining players who want to have long-term projects, and they tend to hang around. So there is a strong community that's always willing to help new players, and so that is an aspect of it that I really enjoy. If you're just looking for a community to hang out with that'll probably be around for a while, ironically, the myDU private server might be for you. I do stream every Saturday starting at around 11 a.m. Eastern and ending later on in the afternoon, maybe evening, and sometimes the next day. We actually have an awesome community of streamers, and again, these days you can find somebody doing something. DualUniverse.game. That's where you can get myDU. It's a one-time purchase that gives you access to the private servers. So there's no more sub. So I know subscription cost was a big point of contention for everybody. So that is no longer an issue as long as you're okay with paying $34.99 US dollars. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been helpful. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.